Hey everyone, welcome to the Parks Patrol on Plus Platoon. We are a Disney Plus fan podcast that typically goes over things on movies and shows on Disney Plus. However, we also have a Disney Parks wing that we like to pull out sometimes when people have questions, when people are going on trips, when there's something new at the parks. We like to pull this out to be able to help you guys be able to figure out what's going on. So for that, I'm going to bring in Pete. Pete, glad to see you.
Hey, how's it going, Derek?
It's going very, very well. And between Pete and I, we have probably been at the Disney parks 50 to 60 times minimum, because mine's probably 30 to 35 ish.
Yeah, I'm right around there.
Yeah. So
we're in the low 30s on our number of trips at this point. So
yeah. And while we know there are those of you who are much more out there as far as higher numbers, this is what we got. We got, again, I've been going since I can't remember. It's early 80s, and I'm sure Pete's been going for years.
Yeah, and we only really started going a lot in 2003, which is still a long time ago.
But it is.
Before that, or sorry, 2006.
Okay.
Before that, I went twice as an adult, and then I went many times as a kid, but I can't say that helps much with planning. Because I don't remember much about it.
If you're going as a kid, you don't have much to do with the planning.
Well, and also it was one park.
That is true. When I started going, there were two parks. It was just Magic Kingdom and Epcot. So, but we do have a third member of our group that we're going to bring in. We're going to bring in Steve. Now,
hi, Derek. Hi, Pete.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Now, Steve is a Disneyland regular that has some Disney World trips coming up. And he's got some questions for us because they are very, very, very different on how you plan different things. Okay. And we do have Silver Platters is joining us. Been to 30 times to Disney World, and Disneyland is in the thousands.
Thousands. Well,
thousands.
I guess that would be a local.
Disneyland local. Yeah. So for those of you watching, there's a lot of years of experience here. Now, are there some things that we may not agree on? Yes, but these are going to be how we do Disney World. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to talk about, this is a Q&A, so it's very much what questions do you have whenever you want to ask them, or if you have answers that you want to give, please do that also. So first section I'm going to jump in is discounts. So and I'm just going to go ahead and start off with ticket discounts, because this is the one that everyone seems to think that, oh, there has to be a secret way to get ticket discounts at Disney World. There are stores down there that will say discount Disney tickets that look like they'd be like an old Blockbuster Video type thing, or kind of in with a pawn shop type area. Those are 100% illegal. I will tell you that right now, just because those typically are, they have bought other people's Disney tickets and are trying to transfer them to someone else. And that doesn't work nearly as well since they've started using the fingerprints, which doesn't actually take your fingerprint. It's actually the size of your finger. But there are some legitimate discounts. There are one website I've used often is Undercover Tourist. There are several of those that are authorized Disney ticket resellers. In other words, they buy tickets in mass quantities and then can afford to sell them for a little bit less. Now, by a little bit less, you're probably talking $10 a day. $10 to $15 a day is a very good discount on most Disney tickets.
Yep.
If you have, depending on your work, I know there's a website called Tickets at Work.
Yep.
Or there are other websites like that you can get special deals. I've seen it was basically a 4-park, 1-park-a-day deal for pretty decent discounts.
Yeah, you will. I have. I haven't bought Disney tickets on that, but I have bought Universal tickets, and I will agree. You will sometimes see discounts there that are pretty much better than you can get anywhere else.
And again, it's an authorized reseller, so it is legit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silver Platters wants to know if there are special discounts for teachers. Yes, you're the NEA, National Educators Association. If you're a member of that, on their website has discounts available. Disney will also sometimes run discounts themselves. I know, for an example, for this coming summer, I got a buy 4 days, get 2 days free ticket. So that is a discount that you never see Disney give.
Pretty rare.
It's pretty rare. At least it has been lately. But you can combine that with the Undercover Tourist or websites like that to get it even still a little bit cheaper than gate price. So there are some discounts out there that are available. You just have to be careful. A lot of times they will be associated with timeshare presentations.
Ooh, watch out for those.
Yeah, watch out for those. Especially now Disney does run its own timeshare, which we'll talk about here after a little bit, but Disney does not promise free tickets if you go to one of their timeshare presentations. It's usually ice cream and maybe fast or lightning lanes, maybe, depending on who's running the show that day.
They'll do gift cards. We just went and signed up friends to see the presentation, and they got, I think because we had an off day and they went before 10 a.m. or something like that, it was actually $100 gift card.
Oh, okay. For them or for you going?
For them.
Okay, so you had to be I'm guessing you had to be already a DVC member.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. DVC is Disney Vacation Club, for those of you who weren't familiar with it. So there are some discounts to be had, but there's also timeshare presentations where you go, oh, come listen to this 30-minute presentation, and 3 hours later,
right,
you still haven't seen your Disney tickets. And even then, it's not usually the actual ticket. It's usually like a voucher that you then have to go to wait in line at guest services and hope it works. I have heard so many horror stories of timeshare presentations for Disney tickets. So I think the biggest thing I would say is don't. To be perfectly honest, I would stick to authorized ticket outlets for Disney. Okay. Now, she asked, are there discounts for teachers? There are hotels that do give discounts for teachers. And so let's kind of jump over to the hotel area. I know Pete, Steve, and I are all members of the Disney Vacation Club, which is Disney's timeshare, which allows us to spend a certain amount of money every year. And basically, we have prepaid for our vacations.
Yep.
Your initial buy-in can be whatever it is that day, depending on how many points you want. And those points, then there's a chart. Each room, each night is worth a certain number of points. And so you then go in and buy. If I have 200 points, I have to buy those initially, which it is a certain price per point initially. And there are annual dues. But I've done the math, and my family has ended up saving. We are this will be 5 years into our Disney Vacation Club life, and we are already coming out ahead on. Now, we bought resale. We did not buy them directly from Disney. But so that is one option. You can also rent those points. I have done that several times also, where basically there are websites that will hook you up with a member that already knows, hey, I'm not going to be able to use my points this year. I'm not going to be able to get to Disney World. So they will make a reservation for you, and then you'll pay them to use their points. I would highly recommend going through a third-party service.
Yeah, there's also places, there's Facebook groups, things like that, where you can meet up with individuals and you can save a little bit of money on doing something like that,
But
there's
no
risk.
protection.
There's risk there, and the risk is going to be to the buyer. I did it once and I had no problems. I would recommend going through a service because you might pay 10 to 15% more because they're taking their cut, but it's you're and I won't even say there's like a 100% guarantee, because I have heard of situations where the seller did something shady, and the company refunded the money. So you would never lose your money. The company refunded the people the money, but they they couldn't give them the room.
Right.
So you can still have things go wrong, but at least you aren't going to lose your money through something like that.
And I will say one company I've gone through is DVC Rental Store. And there are multiple out there, but I have had personal good experience before I became a DVC member with DVC Rental Store. So, but there are many, many out there. Some make you pay ahead of time. Some make you be able to check availability first.
Yeah, I use the timeshare store for all of my, because I rent out points. I don't think I've ever rented any, but timeshare store is also they're very good as well.
Okay.
There's a few others out there. David's is well known.
Yeah.
So I would, but I would recommend, going to them. And if you're going to rent points, that's the way to go. It's still going to save you a bunch of money over cash, understanding that Disney Vacation Club resorts are the higher level, what Disney would call deluxe resorts.
Yes.
So they're still not going to be inexpensive. And let's face facts, none of the Disney hotels are really inexpensive. Yeah. There's three levels. I mean, and there's not even really truly three levels, but there's what they call value resorts, moderate resorts, and deluxe resorts. And there's some level of those not even being all equal. But the value resorts are not inexpensive, but they're the most inexpensive.
Probably I've seen like 150 to 200 a night.
That's what you're looking at for value most of the year is 150 to 200.
And as you go up, the rooms get a little bit bigger and amenities get more.
And the resorts are a little bit nicer. The moderates are in the $300 to $400 range, and then the deluxes honestly can be anywhere from
600 and up.
Well, I would say, I mean, you can get into like Animal Kingdom for $400 or $500. So there are some, like Saratoga, Old Key West are considered deluxes, but you could get into those for less. But yeah, it's a lot of them. It's 500 and up to like Grand Floridian is kind of starts around $900 a night.
So, So, but there are also two hotels that are on, actually there's a few more now, but there are two main hotels that are on Disney property that are not being run by Disney World. I'm talking about the Swan and the Dolphin. The Swan and the Dolphin are located right next to Epcot. I'm not 100% familiar with the story on how they got those hotels, because it is Disneyland, like Disney property.
Yeah.
But they rented that property out to those two hotels.
And now technically it's three, because you got Swan Reserve too.
Oh, right. The Swan Reserve. Yeah. So they are, I believe it's Marriott.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you Silver Platters, you asked about teacher discounts. The Swan and Dolphin do give teacher discounts. It is usually 10%, maybe 15% a night, but they are specific to teachers. They also give first responder discounts and other such discounts that Disney doesn't seem to give. Now, if you are a member of the military, there is what is known as the Shades of Green Resort, which is, from what I have heard, basically a moderate resort for value prices.
Yep.
So,
and that's right near the Magic Kingdom. It's not really advertised, but it is for military only.
Yes. Despite it though being near the Magic Kingdom, it does not have boat service and it does not have monorail service. I think the only way you can get there is a bus.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So that's hotels. Steve, you said you have a couple trips coming up. Where are you staying on your trips?
I have DVC, so we're going to be staying at the Riviera Resort, which is right between Epcot and Hollywood Studios via the Skyliner.
Okay. I have a trip actually coming up in about a week and a half. So we're staying one night at the Boardwalk Resort. Mainly because we're getting in late and it's again also at DVC, but it is a cheaper number of points per night. To give an equivalent, I'm probably paying approximately $135 for the room based on my DVC dues that I'm paying. And then we're spending the following 4 nights at a Bay Lake Tower, which is attached to the Contemporary Resort, which is right next to Magic Kingdom. So, do you have any trips coming up scheduled, Pete, that you know where you're going to be staying?
Our next trip is in October, and we're going to be 5 nights at the Boardwalk.
Okay, nice.
So, yeah.
I know I have stayed at the moderate resorts before. I personally love Coronado Springs. Coronado Springs, especially the new tower that they put up, that opened in somewhere around, it was either like 1920 or 21 in that window right there. But the tower, I have always said, is
it's before COVID.
Yeah, so it was then it was either 18 or 19.
Yeah.
But I've always said it's a moderate resort that feels like a deluxe, because those hotel rooms feel very, very pricey. Does that make sense? But they're not really as expensive. Plus, you're all centrally located because Coronado Springs is a big resort. Right. I would say it's probably the fourth. It's the second biggest moderate to Caribbean Beach, but it's nice. I always like being there in the tower. The only downside to the tower rooms, and they've done this with some of their other rooms recently also, is no ceiling fans.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I don't think, from what I've seen, they aren't putting ceiling fans in most of their new rooms, which to me personally is a mistake. So,
yeah. But you do want to mention, I mean, they do have discounts depending on when you travel. You should always either check the Disney website, or if you go through a travel agent, take a look. They'll a lot of times have hotel discounts.
The 20% ish is about common.
Yeah, I was going to say for the values, it's 10 to 15%. Moderate's probably around 20%, and you might see 20 to 25 at a deluxe.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be huge discounts, but I mean 30%. But again, you're talking about a resort that's charging you $500-$600 a night, so
right.
It's still going to be an expensive resort.
Now, there are hotels that are not on Disney property.
Yep.
And
500 of them.
Yeah, there are gobs and gobs and gobs of hotels that are not on Disney property. One set of these hotels are what is known as the Disney Springs hotels. Literally, they are right next to Disney property. There's a Hilton there. There's a Holiday Inn. There's several of the main chains right there that we have actually stayed at. The big thing I have run into off property is if you're trying to use their bus service, it is wildly inconsistent among different hotels. The Disney Springs buses run run about once an hour is the Disney Springs buses. Disney buses at the hotel, they will tell you run every 20 minutes. Realistically, it's usually more often than that. Now,
yeah, I mean, the big advantage, there's several advantages to staying on property. And, there's the big advantage to not staying on property is price, because you can get very nice hotel rooms off property, quite honestly, much nicer hotel rooms for the same price than paying at Disney property. Disney property to me is the transportation service, which is more convenient. The extra magic hours, which are okay, but like especially now that they've put it so all the parks get the early entry,
Yes.
it's definitely an advantage in the morning. And I'm a big Disney bubble guy, and I'm guessing both of you probably are too.
What is the Disney bubble?
So the Disney bubble is if you are traveling to Disney World, it's its own environment. You feel very different. I mean, a lot of people will call it it's magical, but I think it's just a level of immersion that they're able to maintain. And it involves, I always say it involves all your senses. One thing it's not obvious, but everywhere on Disney property, there's music playing. And they will, in the hotels, there's music, and the music is themed to the hotel. And so it gives you that experience of you're not in a normal place.
Right.
Not everybody cares about that. And, maybe you're someone that doesn't, or maybe you have a big group and in order to go to Disney, you got to stay off property. There's nothing wrong with staying off property. You can have a wonderful experience staying off property. But as I said, I enjoy that. I go to Disney. I'm on property for 8 days. I'm immersed in Disney World. And so if I go to the bar in my hotel, I still feel like I'm at Disney, and if you're staying off property, you're just at a hotel for the most part. So
yeah,
that's the big thing to me.
I mean, there are water parks at some of the hotels off site. The one I'm thinking of is it's a Nickelodeon Holiday Inn. I think at least it used to be, had a great big water park on site that they actually charged extra for, which never made sense to me. But yes, I will admit you will save money by staying off property. But another big thing about off property is sometimes they may only have a bus that runs one time a day.
Oh, yeah. I think if you stay off property, my own personal opinion is you got to have a car. And if you have a car, then you're paying a park at the Disney parks, which is what, $35 a day now?
Gina in the background, check how much parking is. Our producer's in the background, so she'll check and let us know. But yeah, and that is not an insignificant amount of money.
No, if you're talking about every day, plus the cost of the rental car. I mean, on property, you can be without a vehicle.
Yes,
which, depending on how many people you have, can be pretty handy. Now, I will say of late, because they eliminated the Magical Express buses from the airport, we've been renting a car, and it is nice to have that for convenience sake. But we honestly don't use it that much on property. We might use it 2 or 3 times, and the rest of the time we're just taking the Disney transportation because it's very convenient.
Yeah, and okay, so parking is $35 a day for regular, or $50 if you basically want to park closer. And the big one where that would make a difference would be the Magic Kingdom parking lot. But that $35 a day, again, if you're doing $35 a day, let's say you're going for 5 days, all of a sudden that's $175. And because they don't give you a discount if you go like 5 days in a row. Rental car, let's say, rental car runs $300, all of a sudden that's $475. Are you saving $500 by going to that other hotel?
Yeah. And so honestly, you might be, especially with a bigger party, but it's a your mileage may vary thing.
Very much. So, okay. So that's where you stay, kind of how you get, so Pete, how do you say you've been renting, and this is not necessarily, kind of goes with the hotels as far as how do you get to Disney World? Okay.
Yes. So they used to have this thing called Magical Express that if you were staying on Disney property, they had a bus service that basically you didn't even see your bags. They'd pick up your bags. They'd transport your bags for you. You go and you wait in line, you get on a bus, you get to your hotel, usually within an hour to an hour and a half from the airport, because often they stop at multiple hotels, but it was still fairly convenient. they eliminated that. So now your options are kind of either a car service like an Uber or a Lyft,
Mm.
a rental car, or there are still some bus services that are out there, but you have to pay for those.
Yeah,
And
the
that
Mears runs the bus service. They actually used to run the Magical Express one,
right.
but they now run the bus service. I believe, from what I have seen lately, it is $18 per person each way. But
Sounds right.
But again, you are very much at the whim of how long does it take to get enough people to be a full bus.
Yeah.
And then you might be stopping at 6 different resorts, and your resort will inevitably be the last one that they stop at.
Yep.
I personally, so party I usually travel with is my wife and my son, who is going to be 18 this coming summer, and my mother, who has some mobility issues, so usually travels with a walker. We normally check bags just because we normally do. And we have been taking there are also private cars. It's not exactly a limo service, but it's the equivalent of a limo service, because that way you know that there will not be stops in between when you leave the airport, when you get your hotel. Now, some of them you can pay extra for more stops, but I have used Mears. Last time we used it, it was like 1 a.m, and it was just fine, just because there weren't very many of us on the bus, and so there were only like 2 stops, and they didn't necessarily wait for a full bus. I will say, one advantage of the Magical Express, Pete talked about how they used to be able to pick up your luggage and it would just show up in your room like 4 hours later. They've actually started doing that again with select airlines. I believe it's Southwest and now American and United. If you're staying at one of the value resorts.
Oh, really?
They will once again pick up your luggage and deliver it to your room.
Yeah, that to me was the best part of it, because if I don't have to drag my bags anywhere, I'm a happy camper.
Wait for the thing to spin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? How do you, because you're coming all the way from California.
Usually, we did Magical Express the first few times, but now we do a Lyft or an Uber. And by the time you pay for the Magical Express, it comes out to be the same price. And like you said, that's much faster. I go directly to my resort, and I'm not like hanging out waiting for the bus to be filled.
Yeah. The one thing with the Lyft and Uber folks, if you're going to do that, pre-book it.
Yes.
And especially if you don't normally use those services, you can book them based on a flight arrival. And so they won't, like, it's not like you're saying, I'll be there at 7. And, it's really based on, here's my flight. And then if your flight is delayed, they're not going to penalize you.
And they will wait for you to get your luggage.
And they give you time to get your luggage. And then, and then you call the Uber and you get that set price. I've been there where I've like called the Uber there, and like we got in very late, and it was like $80 to go from, like, because they'll, depending on the time and how busy it is and everything, they will get you. Yes. Whereas if you pre-book it, a lot of times you're a lot better off.
And a lot of times if you pre-book it and you don't use it very much, at least Lyft will usually send you coupons.
Yeah.
Like usually a $10 off coupon or 10% or whatever it is. So, and Disney actually runs some select vehicles through Lyft also. It's what's known as their minivans. And you can book those. Those are actually run by Disney. They're not cheap, but they are run by Disney, and they can be booked through the Lyft app. Yeah. So that is an option. Okay, so we've gotten there. We know where we're going to stay. We know we have our tickets and everything. Now we want to go to the parks. Okay, because let's face it, that's why most people go to Disney World is the 4 theme parks. You've got Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is what most everybody thinks of as Disney World. It's got the castle. It's got most of the rides, Epcot is a little bit more, I would be perfectly honest, a little bit more adult based.
Mhm.
It's got a roller coaster. It's got some testing type different things as far as,
Yeah.
but they're all basically big rides.
It used to be a very educational park, and now it's very much edutainment.
Yes, that is a very good way of putting it. You can definitely still learn some stuff there,
Yeah.
especially from the different countries.
Yeah, the countries are good. I mean, you know, there's a seas pavilion, so there's a Nemo ride which has no educational value, but then there's a big
Aquarium, which is
aquarium where if your kids like fish, you can learn some things there. So it's that type of thing where there's some things you can learn from, but most of the rides are now lacking in educational.
I would say about the only one that might still be moderately educational would be Living with the Land.
Yeah,
and Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship Earth, yeah. That's about it.
Okay, sorry. The big golf ball. Hollywood Studios primarily has Star Wars Land. If you're a big Star Wars, go there. Also has, you probably heard about it in the news lately, the new Muppets roller coaster. It has a Toy Story section, and then it has a couple other moderate things, including what I would argue is possibly the best stunt show, maybe in Central Florida, which is there's an Indiana Jones stunt show, which has not changed much since 1989. Is that when Hollywood opened?
Yes, there's actually nothing left in the park that was open on opening day, but that show opened the same year as the park and has remained pretty much the same. There's been some changes, but yeah.
And then
it's definitely a little more of a thrill park than Magic Kingdom, I would say.
Yeah. And then the Disney's Animal Kingdom is your fourth park. For as much as they like to say it is not a zoo, it is very much a zoo. But it's a zoo. It's got a roller coaster. It has a Pandora area. Even if you don't like the movies, which I don't, Avatar Flight of Passage is probably one of the top 5 rides on property.
Yeah, I love it. For sure.
It's a 3D. You're flying along on one of the Banshees in the flights. Other than that, it has some of the best stage shows on property, with both the Lion King and the Finding Nemo show are fantastic. I highly recommend those. If it is a hot day, Collie River Rapids is a great last ride before you leave the park, because you will get your feet wet.
And potentially your entire body.
Oh, and the rest of it. Yeah, you will get wet. You may get soaked.
Yeah.
So, and it's got, I know the new thing is Bluey has shown up in Animal Kingdom. So there is a section of the park that is Bluey. It is getting a Middle Americas area. It's going to have an Encanto dark ride, and it's going to have a Indiana Jones ride on a truck, which is basically will be a retheme of an old ride called Dinosaur, because it is exactly the same track and ride vehicle as the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland, which Steve is very familiar with. So yes. You've got those 4 parks. You've got 2 water parks. You've got a big shopping area at Disney Springs. You have golf courses. You have mini golf courses. There's a lot of stuff to do. For the purposes of this, we're just going to focus on park planning. As far as how many days to do at different parks. Pete, what would you say and Steve, you've been there enough, you can answer this question too. Yeah. To properly do Hollywood Studios, how many days would you need? If you've never been and you're just focusing on Hollywood Studios, my initial reaction is 2.
I agree. I think it's 2. I feel like you could hit everything in one day, but if you wanted to repeat anything, you're going to need 2 days.
And to hit everything in one day, you will need lightning lanes, which is coming up, which is, I know, a big thing about, but
Yeah, for a long time that park was
a half
maybe not
day.
even a full day park. And I think they've successfully taken it and expanded enough things. If you include the shows, and there's some pretty good shows there. You mentioned the Indiana Jones show. If your kids like Frozen, there's a great Frozen sing along.
There's a Beauty and the Beast show.
Beauty and the Beast show is very good. The Little Mermaid stage show.
Is it back?
What?
Is Little Mermaid back? Because
Yes.
I know. Okay.
Yeah, it reopened last year.
Okay.
That was actually closed. That was probably one of the longest things closed from the pandemic, and they kind of reconceived it. So if you'd been to it before and you go to it now, you definitely can tell the difference. But Gina has mentioned there's a new villain show also. So there's a lot of shows. If you want to go and take the time to see the shows, and we're neglecting Phantasmic, which is the nighttime end of the day show, which is Phantasmic. It's Phantasmic. But it's really good. I would agree that it's now kind of become a 2-day park, especially if you want to hit some of these rides more than once. And, you know, if you're a thrill rider, because there's a lot of rides there. I mean, the Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, even
Slinky.
Rise of the Resistance, Slinky Dog is it's kind of a moderate coaster, but like there's a lot of rides there that are on the more that grandma and grandpa aren't going to necessarily want to ride.
Right. Like my mom will drag us onto Rock and Roller Coaster multiple times. So.
Okay, well, so you have that.
So,
you know, so again, with anything, your mileage may vary, but if you have kids that are of an age that they want more thrilling rides, it's definitely a park that can take 2 days of your time nowadays.
And I would also say, of any of them, it is probably the one that if you have like a 9 to 11-year-old boy, that will likely be the park that they is geared the most towards them.
Yeah.
Because it's Toy Story, it's Star Wars, it's Muppets, it's quote scary stuff.
Right.
So,
Tower of Terror.
Yeah, with the Tower of Terror, which I would argue their versions potentially Disneyland's version is so different.
Yes. So now it's very different. Yeah.
Now it's very, very different. Yeah. So but okay, so Hollywood's somewhere between a 1 and a 2 day park. Animal Kingdom, can we all agree, is probably a less than a full day park?
Yes.
Well, again, I would say if you're going to see the shows
and you're going to go look at the animals,
you can spend a full day there. But I would agree, of all the parks, it is the lightest to do. You know, for those of us that have been there many times, I definitely spend, even though I love Animal Kingdom, I do not spend a lot of time there.
And I would argue it is probably the worst park to be in the summer.
Oh, it's a very hot park.
Hot, no shade. None of the rides. So at Magic Kingdom, you're going to go in, and most of the rides, even if they have open line type areas, but if you're undercover, you're having air conditioner blasted on you. Animal Kingdom does not do that.
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom also does not have nearly as many inside restaurants.
Yeah.
That's a big one for us. So I know with our trip coming up in about a week and a half, if I do Animal Kingdom, it will be very, very early, and I might go do like the Safari, the Avatar ride, and single rider on Expedition Everest, and then be out of there by 9:30.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't mention park hopping, but
it's coming.
I'm just going to mention it real quick right now. You can pay extra to your ticket to allow you to go from one park to another park. And again, this is a personal preference. I think I often would recommend to someone new going to not do that, because you will spend a lot of your time traveling between parks, but of that, I think Animal Kingdom is one of those parks where if you're going to get a hopper, you can spend half a day there and then go back to another park. We tend to do with Animal Kingdom is we usually try to go a little later in the day, because you'll find that park starts to clear out around 4 o'clock, and you can do a lot of stuff in a very short period of time when the park is mostly empty. So that's just a personal. So a lot of times we'll either do something else in the morning and then hop over there, or we will do like a half chill day and then go over to that park.
And I know, Steve, one of your questions you had was, should you get a park hopper on it? Because I know you're at Disneyland. Park hopping is literally walking across the street. So,
oh yes, so much quicker.
Park hopping at Disney, you need to. I always plan a time leaving the gate to getting to the gate. I always plan it's going to take an hour. It doesn't always, but if I've got different things with dining reservations and stuff, I plan on it taking an hour.
And it can take longer. If things go poorly. As I said, I think if you're new to it, I would really consider just doing one park per day. I mean, there's other issues, like if you were driving and you park at one park and you want to hop to another park, you're going to have to go to your car and move your car probably, because you're not going to want to travel back later. Understand, if you do pay for parking, it works at all the parks. So you can move from park to park and you don't have to repay for parking. But, it definitely makes it even more difficult to park hop. Staying on property, it's a lot easier because of the bus system. You can always get from any park back to your hotel. But as Derek just said, to park hop from one resort to another, or from one park to another, does take some time. So it really depends on the park. And especially like Animal Kingdom to Magic Kingdom, they're very far apart. Even if you had a car and someone was waiting for you outside Animal Kingdom and you got in the car and drove,
solid 45 minutes.
It's going to be 40 minutes. So when you talk about all the walking and the transportation, everything like that, you're doing good if it's an hour. Hollywood Studios to Epcot, there's actually a boat that runs between the back of Epcot to Hollywood Studios.
And there's a walking path.
Well, there is a walking path too, but it's a pretty good walk. But if you take the boat, it's about a half hour. So
Skyliner can be 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how the line is.
Skyliner is probably about the same, but they have the same thing. They have a Skyliner that travels. It stops at some of the hotels, but you can also take that between the two parks if you wanted to. So those two parks are the easiest to hop between.
Epcot Magic Kingdom is fairly easy as long as the monorail is running.
So it really depends how you're traveling now. As I said, Steve, have you typically bought hoppers, or have you typically not?
We typically do, because Magic Kingdom is nothing special for us because we have Disneyland.
Right.
But we tend to go out to either there or Animal Kingdom and then spend a lot of time between Hollywood and Epcot. So for us, it's always nice because we'll go out, come back, take a break, and then head up to Epcot for dinner or Hollywood Studios for dinner.
Yeah, I've done it both ways. We never actually used to hop until like 2010, 2015-ish is when we finally would start hopping, because most of our trips would be day trips. We'd be over at the beach, and we'd come over and spend a day or two going either to just Magic or Magic and Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
I've done, even as recently as 3 years ago, I did a trip where we didn't hop. Now, if you buy a ticket for that park, you can leave and come back.
Right.
So, Silver Platter says they agree with Pete. New people, one park per day. If they really want to re-ride something and they can go back to the park. 2 days at Magic, 2 days at Epcot. Yeah, we hadn't gotten to those yet, but I would probably agree. if you want to do everything, Epcot might be 2 days, might be a little bit of a stretch, but a solid day and a half. 1 day at Animal Coil and then a day at Hollywood. Yeah. And then she says 1 day at a water park then, which is 7 days. Water parks this year at least, and I believe they're bringing it back for 2020. They haven't announced for 27, but I would be surprised if they don't include it. If you are coming in the summer, you get to go to one of the water parks on your check-in day for free. Now, that can also mean that if you are going from one hotel to the other, when you check into that new hotel, you can go to a water park for free on that day. So,
yep.
We are actually changing, as I said, we are changing hotels on this next one, but because of different mobility issues that are in my party, different things that we've got going on, we are not going to take advantage of that free water park day, at least at this point. And part of it is with the ticket deal that we got, it was actually cheaper for us to just go ahead and go to a park than because if you go to the water park, if you want shade guaranteed, you have to pay for it. And some of them, there's not a ton of shade. And shade can run anywhere from 125 to and up. I'm just going to say that way, depending on what you want. But typically a beach umbrella with 4 chairs runs about 125 to 150 bucks.
Yeah.
And if you definitely want shade, that's a cost you got to figure in. So, I would argue that having been there multiple times, I like park hopping because I know that in the evening, let's say if Animal Kingdom closes at 8, but Magic Kingdom's open till 11 in the summer, I can go over and get a couple hours worth of Magic Kingdom in before I go back to my hotel. So that is an option. It's also an option depending on where you stay. Like if you are on, let's say you're one of the Magic Kingdom resorts, if you're wanting to go to either one of the other hotels or to Magic Kingdom, and you can go somewhere else in the morning, come back, take a nap, or just at least relax in the air conditioning or go swimming, and then go to a different hotel, go to a different park in the evening.
Yeah. We just took a trip in January and with another couple whose kids are grown up. And so it was just 2 couples. And they didn't want to spend the money for the park hopping, which was fine by us. So we did that trip without hopping. And, you can also do downtime if you don't hop.
Yes.
We very much did that at Epcot. My wife and I both, now they were much more go than my wife and I are. You mentioned 30 some trips. So, we're past the point where we got to go all day, and they still wanted to go all day. So we were just kind of like, yeah, well, we're going to go back to the hotel for a couple hours. We'll see you. But then we went back to the same park and it was fine. It was, it was, I felt like we didn't do it in a rushed way anyways. So, I think one big piece of advice I give to people that are new to it is like, don't go into it accepting the fact you are not going to do everything. You can, you could go there for 2 weeks and you probably are not going to do everything. So in a week, you can't do everything. In a day at any one of the parks, I don't care, we say about Animal Kingdom, we're calling it a half day park. If I went to Animal Kingdom at opening and you gave me a list of everything in that park, I could probably not do it all before everything that was listed as an attraction. I could probably not get it all done before the park closed. And certainly none of the other parks can you do that.
Yeah,
I always say have goals of make yourself a goal of 4 or 5 things that are must-dos for you, and make sure you do those, whether it's, and we're going to talk about lightning lane, whether it's buying lightning lanes, whether it's, getting there early, or however you want to do it. Make sure you see the things that you find are critical to see, and then try to keep the pressure down on yourself to see everything. Because if you're just running around, trying to get to everything, it can be a very hectic and exhausting vacation. And some people can do it, but not everybody.
Yeah. And I would also say that, you're not going to, and it's the old no plan survives first contact with the enemy.
Right.
And about the only enemy in Florida that's been undefeated is the humidity in the summer.
Yeah.
And
sometimes in the winter.
Yeah. We did have a question from Ed. Is there a chillax way to experience Disney World? What do seasoned Disney World fans do? And I think Pete brought it up. Is one of it is you don't try and see everything. You don't try to see. I will say one thing we have taken to doing, and this goes against some of my other advice. We sleep in. We sleep in and will not go.
Have only started doing that recently, but we have taken again. When you go a lot, and I'm going to bring Steve in here, because how many times have you been to Disney World? Because you're
less than 5 times.
Right.
So when we go there, we tend to get up early and go.
Right.
As I told people, if you do a Disney vacation like that, it's not a relaxing vacation.
No.
And certainly the people we went with wanted to go for rope drop, and rope drop is basically park opening. And a lot of people will do that for 2 reasons. If you're staying on property, Disney gives you 30 minutes early, what they call early entry. That basically most of the park or part of the park opens early for hotel guests, and you can get a 1 to 2 ride jump on someone that's coming from off property. They used to do that at 1 park per day. Now they do it at every park, and it's actually made me like going in the morning less, because rope dropping used to be a little bit of a secret in that not everybody did it, and it seems like nowadays a lot of people do it. And I find the park much more crowded in the morning than it used to be, but it still is the case that from the first 2 hours after opening, you're going to have the shortest lines of the day.
Yes.
So a lot of people go for those early times because they want to get rides get hour, 90 minutes, 2 hour waits. And if you hit those long wait rides first thing in the morning, you can get some advantage on your touring if you want to, get a lot of rides in. So one way to relax is, again, it's the way to relax to me is you lower your target. My wife and I don't do nearly as much as we used to in a day at Disney, but I think we have a better time now. We'll not go in till 11 o'clock, or sometimes we'll go for rope drop, but then take a break for 3 or 4 hours. We took a trip. We go pretty much every fall for Food and Wine Festival. There was one year we were there for 5 days. We rode 4 rides in 5 days. That's not each day, 4 rides across 5 days, which is unheard of for most people going to Disney. You'll be like, well, why do you go to Disney World so much? It isn't just for the rides. There's things to experience there that don't require the rides. So to me, the way to relax is take those rides a little off the table. Take that. I'm in Epcot. I gotta ride Test Track, and I gotta ride Soarin', and I gotta ride this, and I gotta ride that. If you just say, well, if I get to 1 or 2 of those, great. And then I'm just going to walk around and enjoy the food and the atmosphere, blah, blah, blah. That's how you relax. Steve, do you find yourself ever relaxing in Florida, or is it more?
Yeah, we do. Like we'll pick days where we'll do like a slow lunch. Like,
Yeah.
especially if you're at Epcot, we'll go find a place, sit down, have a cocktail, and
Mhm.
relax. Like, we have our priorities. I know that for the deluxe, they also do the extended evening hours.
Yes.
So for certain rides, we'll wait until the evening and wait for things to
Mhm.
die down. Especially in Magic Kingdom when we have a lot of the repeat rides
Right.
and we like the Disneyland version. So we're using the Magic Kingdom. It's more slowly and looking for the things that are unique to that park.
Yeah, that's true. I would imagine coming from California, that might be like by far that's the park with the most rides. If you've never been to Disney World, Derek mentioned that's the one people think of as Disney World. But if you totaled all the rides across all the parks, probably like almost 50% of the rides are in Magic Kingdom. Maybe not quite, but close.
At least a third of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's 20 some rides in that park, and I think Hollywood Studios is second with like 11.
Yeah, but I remember between Disneyland Resort and World, I think Disneyland has a few more rides, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think Disneyland has
like 34 or something.
Yeah, but it's still, as I said, it's so I think that's a big thing of relaxing is like to I'm not saying take rides out of the equation, but take having to do all the rides out of the equation.
And I know that will vary. Part of it is with what your party makeup is. If you've got teenagers, they're not gonna want to take the break. They're gonna want to keep going. I will also say on that Disney is one of the safest places on, at least in the United States, for if your teenagers want to go travel by themselves and they know where they're going, they're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, I think our daughter was 15. She came with a friend, and that was kind of the age where we were like, you know what? I mean, we're in the park too, but that we were like, yeah, go ahead, go off and do that, whatever. And we did that for I think for a Halloween party. We were like, we'll catch up with you at some point.
Yeah,
just go and have fun.
And I will say they have to be 14 to get into the park by themselves.
Yes.
But my son's again been going since he was 2, and he wanted to sleep in one morning, and we said, okay, we'll meet you at Animal Kingdom at noon this section of Animal Kingdom at noon. And he knew what he was doing. He knew how to get on the bus. He knew how to come in. He knew where to go. He had a friend with him when he was about 3 years ago. So he would have been about 15, but the friend had never been. We had no hesitation at all in sending him and his friend off to do stuff. And again, that's the experience. Part of it is if your child gets lost, Disney is so well trained with how to handle it that I literally just taught our son, look for the name badges. If they have a name badge, they can help you. And they are everywhere.
Yeah.
So, tip from Gina was you're traveling from the West Coast and want the water park day, take the red eye or stay a night off property and then check in the next day. That way, because if you take an 8 a.m. flight, you're not getting there till 2 p.m. at least.
Yeah.
So, and she said it took her about 6 times at Disney World to relax. And that was only after she had already purchased DVC. So
it took me more than 6 times, but yeah.
Relaxing takes a change in mindset that I will be 100% honest. I am not there yet. I am also not the plan every minute of every day out anymore. I was probably 5-10 years ago, but I have Disney, as Pete said, Disney is not a truly relaxing vacation. There are things you can do that are not in the parks. Disney Springs is great if you like to just wander around, shop. There's some very good restaurants at Disney Springs. Exploring the hotels. There's boat rides from Disney Springs to the different hotels there. One hidden thing is at Port Orleans French Quarter. They have a beignet ice cream sundae that is
sounds good.
fantastic. It's huge and it's like $9, which for Disney is cheap.
Yeah.
So if you have time, I would strongly suggest that. But
Yeah,
relaxing is just a mindset. You can relax and spend all day in the parks. You can relax and spend no time in the parks.
And the other thing I would say, if you have younger children, plan on pool time. The pools, especially if you're staying on Disney property, the pools at the Disney resorts are great. Kids love them.
Even the quiet pools.
Yeah. They have in the afternoon, they generally have like games. They have cast members that come out and lead like trivia and things like that. It's not uncommon to hear people say, yeah, I spent all this money and my kid's favorite thing was we spent one afternoon at the pool and that's all they wanted to do was go to the pool. And it's true, you know, I mean, because the parks are exhausting.
Yes. You will walk, if you spend a day at Magic Kingdom, like a full day at Magic Kingdom, you will walk somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So it is not for the faint of heart. And if you're going to take a break, commit to at least 3 hours out.
Mm-hmm.
Longer if you're off property. Leave at noon, come back for supper if you're off property. If you're on property, leave like 1, come back by 5, come back at like 5 or 6.
It's tough to argue that. I would actually argue if you're off property, do your break by going to one of the Disney hotels and maybe even get a meal.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, this last trip with our friends, one of the days was at Magic Kingdom, and Magic Kingdom is a long way from Animal Kingdom Lodge where we were staying. So instead of taking a break by going back to the hotel, we were like, I'm going to book lunch at the Wailulu Bay or Wailulu Pub and Grill. I don't remember the name of it, but anyways, the new restaurant at the Polynesian. And so we went over to the Polynesian and we had lunch at the Polynesian. And then we were I think we also were able to get into Trader Sam's right after because they started opening it earlier. So we went to Trader Sam's, had a drink. We were at the Poly for maybe 2-3 hours. And it's not the same as like laying down in your bed or laying by or going in the pool or something like that. But you can do that. There's no reason you can't go to a Disney resort as a guest of the parks. So you can do that and go to one of the resorts and just kind of walk around, you know, as I said, go to, they have lounges, go to the lounge, go to wherever. Captain Cook's at the Poly is also really good quick service. You know, they sell Dole Whips at the Poly. I mean,
Kona Cafe is a good moderate between a quick sit down and a quick service at
yeah, I mean, I keep using the Poly as an example, but Wilderness Lodge has a nice, you can take a boat over to Wilderness Lodge. Actually, one day we were there, we took a boat over to Fort and Wilderness and ate at the, I forget the name of the restaurant at Fort Wilderness, but you know, if you're staying off property and you have that difficulty of getting back to your resort for a break, take advantage of the Disney resorts. They won't kick you out of the lobby. You can, you can go over to the Wilderness Lodge and you can get a big fat chair in the lobby and sit there and close your eyes for 45 minutes and take in the smells and the sounds, and no one's going to say anything. So yeah, I that's how I would relax if I was staying off property.
That's fair. Yeah. Okay. Steve, you've got lightning lane questions.
Yes, I do. Because I'm an expert at Disneyland, even though I don't get them most times because I'm not going to wait for anything. World is completely different than land. I know that you could do 3. So my questions are, what is a reasonable amount that we can expect in a day? And then strategies for just booking them. Okay. So I could get the best advantage out of day, assuming I'm going to park hop. I'm going to put that.
First thing I will say is there are 3 different tiers of lightning lane that you can purchase. One is Lightning Lane Single Pass. Lightning Lane Single Pass is there are certain rides that you can only buy a one-time use Lightning Lane for that ride. At Magic Kingdom, that is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train and Tron. Epcot, that is Guardians of the Galaxy. At Hollywood Studios, that is Rise of the Resistance. And at Animal Kingdom, that is the Flight of Passage with Pandora. Those will run anywhere from $13 to $23-ish. Those are also the lines in those parks that are typically by far the longest. Of those, I would say Tron, I would argue, is one of the worst lines at Magic Kingdom, because if it's during the daytime, you are out in the sun. Guardians, the first half of it's in the sun. Seven Dwarves is in the sun a lot. So they know when they Rise of the Resistance is in the sun. Avatar's all in the sun. So those are the ones.
Of the bunch, Avatar is the least, though, because
yes,
a lot of it is inside.
Right.
Depending on how long the line is, if it's less than 60 minutes, it's probably all inside.
Okay, yeah. But those are the rides that you can get one time, and you can only buy them once, and you can buy up to 2 per day. And they don't have to be in the same park. They can be you can buy the 2 rides you think you're going to ride that day, or you can buy one, or you can buy none. So those are the single rides. Then they have what is known as Lightning Lane Multi-Pass. And that has nothing to do with the Fifth Element. But Multi-Pass is you can book 3 rides at a time. There used to be other rules, but current rules are you can book 3 rides at a time at one resort to start. And every resort except for Animal Kingdom has what are known as tiers. So you've got the top level rides, and then you've got the rest of the rides. And you can book 1 from the top level and 2 from the second level. Magic Kingdom top level rides are Jungle Cruise, Space Mountain, Big Thunder, Peter Pan, Jungle Cruise.
You said Jungle Cruise, but you're right.
Yeah.
And Tiana.
Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Those are and then all the rest of them are the second tier. Epcot, your top tier time rides are Test Track, Frozen, and Soarin', and Ratatouille.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Soarin'. Soarin's a tier 2.
Soarin' is a tier 2. That's right. I had thought they would bump it up, but they did not. Hollywood, your tier 1s are Millennium Falcon, Smuggler's Run, Rock and Roller Coaster, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And then that's it.
No, you missed the Slinky Dog.
Slinky, okay. And then, but what gets you at Hollywood is Tower of Terror is a tier 2. Toy Story Midway Mania is a tier 2. And that can really bump up the wait times on those rides.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then at Animal Kingdom, Expedition Everest is a tier 1. The
Expedition Everest does not have, they don't have tiers other than
that's right, they don't have tiers, that's right,
other than the individual one for
Avatar,
the Flights
right.
of Passage.
Right. Sorry guys.
It's okay.
But so you can book 1 from the top tier and 2 from the bottom tier. If you are staying on property, you can book 7 days out from your first day, and you can book the length of your hotel stay. So if you're moving hotels, you can only book for that first hotel stay. And then 7 days out from your second one, you can book the remainder of your hotel stay. And you can book for up to, I believe it's up to 7 days or 10 days.
I guess look up to 14 days, it looks like.
Up to 14 days of stay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not staying on property, you can book 3 days in advance. I believe that's also if you're an annual pass holder, it's 3 days.
Yes, even if you're
not staying on
if
property.
you're not staying on property.
Yeah. Park Booking begins at 7 a.m. Eastern. They don't care that it's 4 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. You just kind of have to suck it up. And really, though, it usually starts about 6:45 Eastern, just because they tend to open them about 15 minutes early. Then
do the individual lightning lanes also book out 7 days?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they all book the same distance.
Okay.
And so then you can book, and you have to pay. The multi-pass lightning lane runs somewhere between $25 and $40 a day per person ish. 30 to 35 is typical. Obviously, if you're going over Christmas time, they jack everything up.
Yeah, the longer the lines, the more you're paying for the lightning lane. So
Yeah.
the busier the times. None of them are cheap.
And it depends on which park you are getting first.
Yes.
Because you pay different amounts based on which park you are getting your first 3 at.
Yeah, and they used to, if you wanted to hop, you actually had to pay the upcharge for a higher price for hopping, but they don't do that anymore.
That did not stick around very long, I don't believe. So Animal Kingdom's the cheapest, then Epcot, then Hollywood, then Magic Kingdom, I believe.
Yes.
Epcot and Hollywood are usually right there next to each other.
Hollywood's usually a little higher than Epcot and a little less than you. I mean, you had the order right.
Yeah. But what nice thing is, if you have park hoppers, once you use, and this kind of gets to Gina's question here in just a minute, but once you use one of your lightning lanes, you can book at different parks, and all of a sudden the levels make no more difference.
Right. Once you've used your first one, you can then start booking. You can then book another one.
Yes. You do not
have up to 3 at any time.
Yes. As Gina asked, do I have to use my 3 before I can book another? Last time Tower of Terror wasn't until 6 p.m. and we were done. No. Once the first one gets used, you can book another. Now, Disney, there used to be what was known as the 2-hour rule, where every 2 hours you could book a new one, even if you hadn't used any of your old ones. Right now, it is simply 3. It also depends on if the ride goes down. They will often give you a use almost anywhere pass.
Yeah,
Usually at Magic Kingdom, you cannot use it at Space. You cannot use it at Tiana's. I'm guessing you probably can't use it at Big Thunder with the lines I've seen there lately.
I don't know what the current rule is.
And it depends on where, and you can always use it at the line where you originally booked it. Once the time comes up, you will have, the official line is you will have 1 hour to use your lightning lane. The time will basically be, say it's from noon to 1 o'clock. You can show up 5 minutes early. It will let you in as many as 5 minutes early. Okay. And again, once you scan that first time at the entrance, you can be on your phone booking a second lightning lane, another lightning lane.
Once your party's all scanned in.
Once your party's all scanned in, you can book for your whole party. Right. In practice, I know there is at least a 10-minute grace period at the end. I have seen that it can often be longer than that, but your mileage may vary.
They have been flexing the afterwards
up to
quite a bit.
3 hours.
Yeah. I would recommend trying to make it in your time window, but if you're late, I wouldn't not show up.
And if you're like stuck at dining and you can't make it, just let them know. Yeah. Or if you've been waiting for a bus for 2 hours because for some reason it didn't come to Caribbean Beach.
That's part of the reason they let you lose them use them late.
And and we're going to talk about food here in just a little bit, but same thing with dining reservations. If you missed, your bus did not come, and that's why you're late to your dining reservation, tell them they can usually work you in.
Yeah.
If you are stuck in the middle of a line and the line stops for 20 minutes and never officially goes down, and you stuck in the line and miss your dining reservation, tell a cast member. Cast members are great at, if they can, they will make things work. Now, that doesn't mean you can show up 4 hours late to a dining reservation. But, okay, so Steve, your next question was strategy, right?
Yep.
Okay, Pete, how much do you guys use lightning lanes?
So I hate them, but I use them. So we generally use them for Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, and we generally don't for Epcot or Animal Kingdom. So as a general rule, here's my opinion on the 2 ways to use lightning lanes most effectively. One, you book your lightning lanes as early as you can, even maybe booking the garbage ones first thing, and then use them quickly and book more, because especially at Epcot and Hollywood Studios, and to a degree at Magic Kingdom, the only ones that are really worth a damn are the tier 1s. Epcot, all the tier 1s are gone by
1 in the afternoon.
No, we were there at 9:30 is maybe a little exaggeration, but we were there. We had a 9:40 for Nemo, and we did not get another tier 1 for the rest of the day.
Wow.
At Epcot, because there's so few of them, everybody books them, and you can't get it. So, if you want to, and it may seem counterintuitive to be like, oh, the first thing I'm going to do is go to take a shortcut in a line, but that's what we did at Epcot. And as I said, we still weren't able to get another tier 1. It's kind of why I hate the system. The other way I'll use a fast pass is, Derek talked about sleeping in. I'll sleep in and I'll book 3 fast passes later in the day and just say, those are my 3 fast passes, and not worry about what else I'm going to get particularly. And just accept that I'm going to get on, and again, more at Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, I'm going to get on those 3 rides, and I'm going to have short lines for those 3 rides, and I'm probably not going to do anything else. So at
there's a counterpoint coming too. So
okay.
So
go ahead, Steve, ask your question.
So if I'm going to park hop, it's better to pick the top tier ride I want to ride at my beginning park. Probably rope drop the other top tier ride.
It depends. If you are rope dropping Epcot and know you're going to hop to Magic or Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
I would honestly suggest booking your lightning lanes at either Magic or Hollywood, and go to Epcot, rope drop Guardians, and do the single rider test track, and walk over to Soarin' and do those, and then whatever else, because in reality, lines don't lengthen out until about 11.
But just knowing after that, it's going to be the lower tier rides. Well,
yeah,
because most likely all the top tier rides will be gone.
Yeah, I mean, the exception to a degree is Magic Kingdom, because they have enough rides to absorb it. But Epcot, as I said, Epcot, the problem with Epcot is there's not enough top tier rides there. So you end up, whatever top tier ride you book, you can get that one, and you're probably not going to get another one. Hollywood Studios isn't that bad. There's certain rides, and I'll say
usually get Smuggler's Run later in the day.
Right. So there's Smuggler's Run, Mickey and Minnie's to a degree. There's websites out there, but like Slinky Dog, if you don't have that pre-booked, you will not ride it. Rock and Roller Coaster also runs out really early.
Okay, you can ride them. You will wait in line.
Well, yeah, if you want to use a lightning lane, you're not going to get a lightning lane later in the day for those. But you may be able to get one for some of the other tier ones there. But even so, again, if you're going to hop, whatever park you do first, book some. If you can book your tier one early, that's great. But as Derek said, it doesn't matter which one you use first, because once you use it, the fourth one you book can be at any park and it can be at any tier. So I could, in theory, I could have at Epcot, we weren't hopping because we were their friends. I could have rode Nemo at 9:30 in the morning, used my lightning lane, and then book, Big Thunder Mountain or Jungle Cruise over in Magic Kingdom for, at the time, I think you had to wait till 1 o'clock to hop, but I think they just got rid of that. So
yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Derek, I heard you correctly that the 2-hour window rule no longer applies.
No longer applies.
Yeah. As soon as you use it, you can use it again.
Yeah.
Again, my personal opinion is Magic Kingdom. I always buy it. There's enough rides there that you can usually get 2 or maybe 3 of the tier 1s, and some of the tier 2s are actually worth a lightning lane there, unlike the other parks.
Like Haunted line in the summer sucks.
Right. So Haunted is a tier 2. Pirates of the Caribbean is a tier 2, and sometimes that can have a 40-45 minute wait. I don't know right now. I think Buzz Lightyear is a tier 2.
Yes.
So there's a few rides that actually get pretty long lines that are tier 2s, and there's enough tier 1s there that most of them don't run out right away. So if you again start using them in the morning, you can probably get at least one more tier 1, if not 2 more tier 1s there. Again, same thing at Hollywood Studios. The important thing there is if you want Slinky Dog, book that.
Yeah. Yes.
Because that will be out first thing in the morning. But again, the good things are usually out by 1 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get more than 3 things,
okay, so
you have to book some of them in the morning. And so that's why I said there's kind of 2 ways to do it. Either you book in the morning and then you ride those rides and get more in the afternoon, or you just say, screw it, I'm gonna, Derek's advice is pretty good, actually. I have done that before, where I say, I'm going to Epcot in the morning. We're going to use single ride. We don't ride Guardian, so we'll use we'll go on Remy first thing. We'll ride single rider for test track, and then we'll hop over to Magic Kingdom. And I got my 3 lightning lanes already booked, so I'm good.
So Steve, what I have up is, and there are several of these websites. Right. This is showing real-time availability for lightning lanes this screen's Magic Kingdom, including what is available today. So it is 8:23 p.m. on the Eastern time zone. I could get a 10:05 Buzz Lightyear still. I could get a 10 o'clock Haunted. I could get an 8:20, so I could get basically a now Pirates of the Caribbean. Barnstorm is usually available. I would say probably one of the easier tier 1s to get if you use one by noon is Space Mountain. Space Mountain usually has availability through at least 1-2 in the afternoon. I know that as far as Magic Kingdom, because we always do lightning lanes, always, just because you will save time. It may only be at 3 rides, but you will save time.
Yeah, it's a cost to value ratio, right? Is it it's going to cost you X number of dollars and it's going to save you Y amount of time, and is the X number of dollars worth the Y amount of time?
Right.
The problem, of course, is that you don't know upfront what the Y amount of time is going to be. So, we've had very bad lightning lane experiences. We bought the lightning lane at Magic Kingdom to do precisely what I said on a trip where we didn't go to Magic Kingdom till the afternoon, and it was right after Tiana opened and we wanted to ride Tiana. Well, we got to Magic Kingdom, it poured rain. Tiana closed. It never reopened. We were able to use our other two, but they were both walk-ons. So we spent $20 some and we got basically nothing. You know, it was a 20-minute, I think it was 20 minutes of Pirates, and then it was raining so hard that I think Haunted Mansion was only like 15. So, you know, yeah, we saved a little bit of time, but for what we spent, it was terrible. Now, I went and complained about losing the Tiana one, and they actually gave us a Tiana pass for another day. So, you know, we ended up getting it, but that's always the biggest problem with Lightning Lane is you don't know what you're going to save. But you know, if you're not going that often, you know, I said my opinion is I think it's worth it at Magic Kingdom. I think it's worth it at Hollywood Studios. I don't think it's worth it at Epcot, and I don't think it's worth it at Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom, I would buy the individual Lightning Lane for
Avatar.
It's a Passage myself, because it's either that or rope drop it, and I'm not going to that park at 7:30 a.m. or whenever the rope drop is. So we just buy that one, and to me, nothing else there has long enough lines that I need to pay that. But and I said Epcot, the problem I've always had at Epcot is you basically get one ride, because then you get, you know, I guess Soarin' you might get, and it's you know, 40-minute wait or whatever. But the tier 2s there are almost all, well, they used to, you know, that's another problem with Lightning Lane.
Is a tier 2.
What?
Spaceship Earth is a tier 2.
Spaceship Earth is a tier 2, and it can get long. You know,
Mission Space is a tier 2.
That line rarely gets long, though. And Nemo rarely gets long.
You want green or orange?
I guess it's maybe when we go, but I rarely see anything. Yes, Spaceship Earth can get long, but Spaceship Earth surges a lot. So to me, what we usually do is we just watch for Spaceship Earth, and at some point it's going to be 20 minutes. we go up and ride it.
Okay, Pete, when do you normally go?
Well, we usually go in the fall, so we're you know, we're not on a teacher schedule. So if you're there at a more crowded time, I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, Epcot, you're essentially getting one tier 1, and then you're going to be able to get a bunch of tier 2s, but what you're getting from those tier 2s are not that great. If you're going to hop somewhere else, that's an option too. But I actually like Derek's idea that I would book at the other park. But you could also, as I said, do those, you know, use your ones early and try to get more tier 1s at the other park. But that's really the two ways to use it is go early, use them for better rides, or just book later at a park, and, you know, be satisfied that your $25 bought you 3 short lines.
Now, counterpoint to that, I always buy Lightning Lane at a park for the day. I know Gina asked how many days to buy Lightning Lane. I buy Lightning Lanes every day. Typically at the first park I go to, mainly because the first park I normally go to is the one that I want to hit at least a few rides for that day. I will buy it for Epcot. If nothing else, I will buy it for Epcot so I don't have to wait in line for Test Track. Because if I'm not doing single rider, Test Track's line is not a fun line to wait in.
Yeah.
It's loud, and half of it's outside. I will say I've got an 18-year-old boy, so we don't normally typically ride Frozen, and Remy is okay, to be perfectly honest. I think I'm not a huge fan of Remy, but Remy also has single rider, and Remy's single rider can usually save you a pretty good amount of time.
See, that's the other thing to me with Epcot is, there's Frozen, but 2 of your big headliners have single rider. And if you're not with little kids, if you're with little kids, it's a different story. It might make a lot of sense to have it, but you know, I can ride Remy single rider. I can ride Test Track single rider.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I also know that, and I always buy it just for the convenience, if nothing else, because I know I can always find, especially if I'm going to end my day at Magic. Magic will always have something.
Right.
Always. Looking at it right now, if it was tonight, you could get an instant fast pass at Epcot for Figment, Living with the Land, Mission Space, Spaceship Earth, Seas, so Nemo. You could get instant stuff at Swirling Saucers, Star Tours. Star Tours is another line that can surge a lot.
Yeah, weirdly. Yeah. Well, I think it surges due to Indiana Jones.
Yes,
But-
when Indy gets out, they all
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
And actually, the other one you can get an almost instant. We could get a fast pass for in 20 minutes. You could get a Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. That is the tier 1 at Hollywood that does not act like a tier 1, and it also has single rider, but you can usually get, especially later in the day, and I would say later in the day at Hollywood, crowds tend to thin out.
Yep.
Now looking at it,
as I say, your mileage may vary. I'm of the opinion that you get very little for your $20 at Epcot. So
okay.
But
if it's $20 at Epcot and $40 at Magic, are you getting? I mean, I think you would end up with half as much of the advantage.
Yeah, I don't know.
It also depends on what kind of day you're going to be going. I heard you say at least one spring break trip.
Yes, yeah, next April.
To me, you don't have a choice, because all your wait days are going to be 8, 9, 10s out of 10 on the wait day calendars.
And then again, if I have a park hopper, when I buy it, do I buy it like for the starting park, and then I can book at other parks?
I would buy it for the starting park, to be perfectly honest. Well, okay. Are you true rope droppers, or are you showing up about 9:30, 10 o'clock?
No, we could be true rope droppers.
If you're true rope droppers, if you're a true rope dropper at Animal Kingdom or a true rope dropper at Epcot, Animal Kingdom, I would say you probably would. Even if you're a true rope dropper, I would still buy the Flight of Passage single pass, just because rope dropping on that can still be an hour.
Yeah, and I didn't talk about that so much, but I actually like the individual lightning lanes better.
Oh yeah,
because essentially you're giving me a fixed fee, and I know what I'm going to get.
And then are those still time based, or are they just
they still give you a time, and depending on the closer to it, you're gonna have a later in the day time. But you can when you book it, I can't remember, it used to be like when you booked it, they kind of stuck you in a time, but then you could go back in and change it.
Yes.
But to me, those are especially Flights of Passage. I almost always buy one for Tron because I want to ride it when it's dark.
Yes.
And
that is one of the few rides that is much better at night.
Right. So I always pay for the individual lightning lane there. I have been paying generally for Rise of the Resistance, but Rise of the Resistance is actually starting to get shorter lines now, so I may not next time. And you're coming from California, which already has Rise of the Resistance, so I don't know if you want to.
It's literally the same ride.
Right.
It's a ride that I only go on if we have a brand new person who's never seen it. Like, I've been enough times. Like,
but I definitely think it's worth it if you like Guardians. I think it's worth it for Guardians.
Yeah, I love Guardians
because I said you're paying a fixed fee, and it might be 15, it might be 20, but like what you're going to get. You book it in the middle of the day when the lines are long, and especially again if you're hopping, you book it for the second park, and now you have it in your pocket, and you know what you're going to get. I mean, it could still get canceled because of weather, but if it gets canceled because of weather, they're giving you your money back. So,
and I'll be honest, most of these single rider lines, the single purchase ones, I think, except Tron and Seven Dwarves are outside, but the rest of them are inside.
Yeah.
So, Gina did ask, bringing an 18-year-old niece in October, should we buy park hoppers and 2 days lightning? How many? Gina, just give us a number. How many? Are you only going for 2 days? Going for 5 days? For 5 days, okay. Park hopper is one cost no matter how many days you are there. Park hopper runs, I think it's either $75 or $79 for the length of your ticket.
Yeah,
So
it does go up now the longer you stay, but not by a lot.
not less than $5.
Yeah.
It's not much. So to me, an 18-year-old, you will be the one holding her back, to be perfectly honest, Gina, no offense. But I would do, honestly, October. Okay, how close? My question on that would be how close to Columbus Day, how close to Halloween? Because if it's Columbus Day, you're going to have most of the East Coast is off. If you're going to have Halloween, you're going to have most people are there wanting to do the Halloween parties. And the Halloween parties and the Christmas parties are a whole nother animal that we're not even going to discuss right now. But I would be perfectly honest. My personal thought is see how many rides she wants, how important rides are for her. If rides aren't important, she would rather go meet princesses and she'd rather go look around areas. I would say you probably don't need Lightning Lane every day.
Yeah.
If she's wanting to ride the rides every day and that's what she wants to do all day, then I would say probably not. Yes. Okay, so she's sending us messages in the background. It's Run Disney weekend. Is that the Food and Wine weekend? Oh, that's going to be packed.
Yeah,
Epcot,
Disney.
At least the day you go to Epcot, you will definitely buy the Lightning Lanes because that Epcot will be nuts that weekend. Disneyland girl, most of the stuff Disneyland doesn't have is not at Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And so she's not going to be doing any of those repeats. I would say Hollywood, except you guys have Mickey and Minnie. You guys have Hollywood, probably not. Animal Kingdom, yes. Magic, maybe.
No, I would get it at Hollywood because you guys have Mickey and Minnie and you have the Star Wars stuff, but you don't have Rock and Roller Coaster. You don't have the same Tower of Terror.
Yeah,
you don't have the Slinky Dog. I think there's enough.
Completely different.
Yeah, I think there's and I mean the California one changed. She might be young enough that the California one changed. She might never even been on it when it was Tower of Terror.
She probably wasn't.
So
yeah. So
yeah. Okay. I would say Tower of Terror, definitely right. It's yes the same system, but it's a completely
different ride,
different feel.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, the one in California doesn't move forward.
No, yeah, but still, yeah, I would book it. It's for that different experience.
Okay, so I would say probably. I would honestly do it yes for Magic just because there's enough different. Definitely do the individuals. But
yeah, Magic it's tricky because it's a lot of the same stuff.
It's a lot of the same stuff. There's a few differences. I would say Hollywood, yes. I would say Epcot, yes. Because about the only thing you guys have at Epcot is Soarin'. Everything else.
Yeah, I think I would say yes at Epcot,
especially that weekend.
Yeah. We're going to miss you by like 3 days, Gina.
Yeah. So, Steve, what other Lightning Lane questions do you have? I'm more than happy to walk you through exact what I would pick on which day. But
I would say yes. Like, out of the top tiers, which ones? Definitely like the thrill rides. Which ones should I be going to like first?
I always look at to be perfectly honest, on the top tiers, which lines suck the most. If it's hot when you go in August, Jungle Cruise line sucks. So if you want to ride Jungle Cruise and it's a little different than Disneyland, especially with the tunnel that we have at Magic, that's one. Big Thunder is another one that again
it's different. Yeah,
Well, except it's not that different. The caves are different. The track is literally mirrored. So
It's yes and no. It's definitely a different feel.
yeah.
That to
Buzz,
me is different enough that I always want to ride that in California,
yeah. Buzz is a different ride.
especially now.
Especially now. Actually, it's more similar now, to be perfectly honest, because Disneyland has the handheld guns.
Well, true, but
Seven Dwarves is a definite do. I would say Space Mountain is enough different that if you like Space Mountain at Disney
Well, to me,
World,
your Space Mountain seems very much like our Matterhorn. It gives me the same feel.
it's similar. It's similar.
Yeah.
It's not as rough as the Matterhorn.
yeah, Magic Kingdom. I would say, when are you going?
I'm going in August.
In August.
That's my first coming trip.
Yeah, so I would say Tiana's will be very popular. So if you want to ride that,
Big
again,
Thunder will
I know
be
you have that in
popular.
California. And as he said, I think of it, the way I think of it is what things run out quickly and what things do I have a shot at getting if I don't book it first. So the things that run out the quickest at Magic Kingdom are Jungle Cruise, when it's hot, Tiana's, and then probably Space Mountain would be next.
And see, I disagree on that one. If nothing else, for the next 7 days, there are no Big Thunder Fast Passes available.
Well, now, and I was going to say this year it might be different, and it might be Big Thunder because it's been refurbed, and so it might be very popular.
And because of everyone wanting Big Thunder, Space and Tiana's and Jungle Cruise are going to have more availability. So
that's a good point.
Pooh, so that I prefer Magic Kingdom's Winnie the Pooh a whole lot because it actually follows the story. Disneyland's just kind of all over the place. But that is also one that will sell out quickly because that's where all the parents that want to get those tier ones but can't take their kids on roller coasters will typically go for either Pooh or Peter Pan.
Yeah. And I was going to say also Peter Pan will also run out very quickly.
Yeah.
If that's something you care about. I mean, typically an adults only trip, it's not a priority, but
I could ride Peter Pan in Disneyland. So
right. Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't remember how similar it was. It's pretty similar. At
Hollywood Studios, again, if you want to ride Slinky Dog, definitely book that. And then as far as the tier 2s, I would always
Twilight Zone and
Toy Story Mania and Twilight Zone Tower.
Toy Story Mania, they've got a California Adventure.
They do. I'm just listing the ones that are going to go the fastest.
Yeah.
And then if you decide you don't care about Slinky Dog, Rock and Roller Coaster would be my number 2 to run out.
Yeah.
But that one, if you use one early enough in the day, you probably can get another Rock and Roller Coaster. It's hard to
do you think that'll be the case with Muppets though?
That's what I don't know. With Aerosmith, you definitely could. I don't know what it'll be like because there might be a lot more demand. It wasn't closed that long, so maybe not as much. But
at the moment, I'm looking at some of the availability in the background, and there are no Rock and Roller Fast Passes available tomorrow for the Fast Passes, but the future ones have
also
more
just
availability.
Opened 4 days ago, so it's a hard judge.
So another question.
I think that'll be.
I know at Disneyland you could do the refresh, and sometimes things pop up.
Yes.
Does that work at World also?
Yes.
It does.
11 o'clock is usually a popular time for rides to throw more in. Some of the rides, like Tiana's, will throw stuff in about 45 minutes past just about every hour. There are places, a lot of the rides, especially at Magic Kingdom, will keep adding capacity. Yeah. So and there are websites you can go to find when those times are.
Yeah.
And Animal Kingdom, for some reason, Navi River Journey fills up. Which I don't understand.
Probably because it's cool. It's inside.
I don't want to ride that with no wait.
No, I am never riding that one again. Yeah, it can be a walk on, and it's no.
Yeah. But so at Epcot, if you're going to do it again, tier 1, I would probably do Test Track.
And then Frozen.
And yeah, I mean Frozen. If it's going to be, if that's enough, if you care enough about riding Frozen.
Well, because you don't have Frozen.
We don't have Frozen. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was go there, I would probably skip Test Track because it's very close to Radiator Racers, and I like that much more. And I could do that single rider. If it's there,
Have you seen the new version of Test Track?
I've not seen the new version.
I would ride it once.
Yeah.
Even if it's single rider, I'd ride it once.
There's some cool aspects to it. I mean, it's not that different, but
and I like Mission Space. I like the orange. I like.
Oh, you're one of those people.
I'm one of the, yes, I'm one of those people.
Tier 2s. I mean, again, you have Soarin' already.
Yeah.
But Soarin' to me is the premier tier 2. But if you're not going to ride it, then I would say
Mission
Spaceship Earth and Mission Space are the other two.
Yeah.
Other than that, and weirdly,
usually we rope drop Ratatouille.
Yeah. Lately, Journey of the Imagination lines have been very long, and I do not understand it. I mean, that it has to be a lightning lane phenomenon.
It could be. I mean, that's what's happened with Little Mermaid in California Adventure.
Yeah.
California, it used to be a walk on almost all the time, and now it just spikes at times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then
go ahead.
And then if you were going to do Animal Kingdom, I would do again, I'll always buy the single ride, or I'll always buy the individual for Flights of Passage. It's well worth it.
I'd do the Safari.
But if you're going to do the main one, I would do the Safari. I would do, I mean, there's only a few rides, so I'd do Safari, Everest, and Kali, I guess.
Or Safari, Everest, and book whatever else you want and move it to wherever you're going that afternoon.
Yeah. Are you allowed to do that after you use one?
Like, no. Like, book Safari and Everest, and whatever the third one is, once they use either the Safari or Everest, move that third one to a different park. Yes. Yeah. You can also move them to other parks.
Oh, so once I use one, then I could start modifying other ones?
You can modify all of the rest of them, yes.
Yeah.
The modifying, I think it depends. Your mileage may vary on whether the modified ones have to stick with the tiers or not. I think the modified ones have to stick within the tiers.
I think the tier 1 does. Yeah. I mean, obviously.
The tier 2 ones, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the tier 2 ones, you can't switch it to a tier 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
But after your first one, then you can grab other tier 1s.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know how that works. How does that work with? I wonder how that works with Animal Kingdom, because if you start at
once you use one at Animal Kingdom, you can move them to any other park at any tier.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. That much I do know. So, and then does that kind of get most of your questions in for Lightning Lane, Steve?
I think so, yes.
Okay, and then the one other, two other things I want to touch on. Want to touch real quick on food, mainly because my big thing here is most people don't eat enough, and most people don't drink enough, especially in the summer, and especially families with small kids. A lot of times, meltdowns you will see are because kids have not had enough to drink or have not had enough to eat, and they're tired. But my first step in arguments, my family, at one point, we were about ready to tear each other's heads off in the middle of Tomorrowland, and we never do that. We were arguing, we just kind of bickering and snapping at each other. I literally said, everybody needs to wait here. I walked over to the cart. I got 4 bottles of water, and I got 4 Mickey bars.
Yeah.
And brought them back, and that cured things. The other thing I will say about food and a sit-down restaurant for lunch can make a great AC break especially in the summer. If you do about a 12 or a 12:30 lunch, like at Crystal Palace at Magic Kingdom or wherever, then That's a great way to sit down, make sure you get the food and the water in you that you need, and it gives you an hour and some air conditioning that you are just off your feet and just relaxing. And Pete's looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, I'm just thinking about, because we've kind of changed how we eat too, and especially they used to have the ability to book a discount, which they called free dining. And when that existed, we would eat at a lot of sit down restaurants. We don't do that as much anymore because of how long they tend to take. But I will agree that it's a good way to take a midday break, is rather than doing a dinner. It used to be kind of a bit of a secret that the lunches were cheaper than the dinners, but they got rid of that and they're all the same now. But yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of like a midday, like getting like a 12:30, 1 o'clock lunch. Like you have a snack or something, as you say, Mickey bar, like 10:30, 11 o'clock. Make sure you're not getting hangry.
Yes.
And then have your lunch like 12:30, 1 o'clock and do a sit down in the middle of the day. The one thing I would say for a Disneylander, people in Disney World don't use mobile order as much as they do in Disneyland, so it isn't as critical.
Use mobile order.
But use mobile order. But generally, you can get a return time
within 20
minutes away. Whereas I know in California, it's sometimes you have to plan out like an hour and a half in advance for some of them, for some of the mobile orders. But that's generally not the case in Florida. A lot of people still wait in lines, and I just don't get it.
There are a few places that you cannot mobile order. I know, like, for example, the Aloha Isle at Magic Kingdom, where you get the Dole Whips, you have to wait in line.
Yes, though. So weirdly, the Aloha Isle, yes, but the other one with the orange,
you can mobile order.
That one you can mobile order. And we were there, and there were 20 people in line, and I went on my phone and mobile ordered and walked right up and got my ice cream. And I thought, these people are all idiots.
Casey's is another place that people don't realize you can mobile order if you like a Casey's hot dog. I personally love a Casey's hot dog right as I'm waiting for a parade. The other thing on that similarly is mobile checkout. If you're at the Emporium or if you're at the big shop at Epcot, that you don't have to wait in the 20-minute line, and it automatically adds in any discounts that you may have, even if you're technically not eligible for them.
I use those. I use it all the time at Disneyland. So
but
I'm very rehearsed on
a lot of people at Disney World may not know about them, even though they have big signs everywhere.
And this is slightly outside the average planner, but Steve, since you're DVC, I know August is Welcome Home Weeks this year.
Oh, very nice.
They're going to be announcing a bunch of restaurants that will have 40% off on Monday through Friday. So make sure when that comes out, check that out. There are usually some pretty good restaurants that are included in that. And, 40% off of Disney prices, even Disney prices, is a pretty good price for a lot of these restaurants. So watch for that.
Any must restaurants you'd say for a person who does not necessarily go all the time?
San Angel Inn in Mexico has I love the atmosphere there in the Mexico Pavilion. The Mexican food is pretty good, and it's actual Mexican food. It's not Tex-Mex food. It's one of those where you schedule one of those about 12:30 or 1, and it's a relatively quiet sit down. It's dark, it's air conditioned, kids will relax. I personally love, if you're a seafood fan, the buffet at Cape May Cafe at Yacht and Beach Club is very, very good. They've started charging extra for the crab, but other than that, they've got shrimp, clams, fish, mussels, all sorts of things. I would be more able to tell you restaurants to avoid. Um, I personally, we have done the Space 220 at Epcot. I found that it was not worth it at all. We did the lounge, but I looked at and we got some of the appetizers, but I looked at the menu and imagine you're eating in the same area where you remember how when you walk out of the transport and it's got that big space window in Rise of the Resistance?
Yeah.
Put tables right there
Got
without the stormtroopers and the TIE fighters on the wall.
Actually, I would rather eat there. That would be. They should have like just a table service right there with the stormtroopers come and wait on you. And then they like, you know, you say you want cheese and they do the cheese, but they miss your plate.
I have very, very few bad restaurant experiences.
Again, going as adults, I wouldn't bother with character meals. You probably already know that. But I am a big proponent of the signature restaurants at Disney. Flying Fish is at the boardwalk's fantastic.
Okay.
We love Yachtsman for steak. Jico is really good. I mean, any of these places, I would look at the menu ahead of time and make sure there's things there that you want because, but in my opinion, the prices, even though the signature restaurants are expensive, the prices that Disney charges for their signature restaurants are on par with what you would pay
in a big city,
in any big city.
Yeah.
So, you know, you go out to dinner at a nice restaurant in Seattle where you live, you're paying $60 to $70 an entree, and that's what you're paying at Disney. So it's not outrageous, and the food in those restaurants are that good. Citrico's really good. I said Flying Fish. We went to Flying Fish kind of last minute. We ended up going to Flying Fish on our last trip. The other couple I was with, the guy got a steak, and you wouldn't think of going Flying Fish and getting steak, but he said it was one of the best steaks he ever had. And I had the scallops there, and they were out of this world. We love that restaurant. So
I will say one of the hidden gems that used to be there that sadly is not anymore. We loved Mama Melrose. Mainly because it was the cheapest way. You could get good food there, and it was the cheapest that had the Fantasmic dining package. So, Animal Kingdom, Yak and Yeti's the main place we eat, if nothing else, because it's one of the very few that's actually completely inside. That's not Rainforest Cafe.
Yeah, I like not sit down, but Sally's Cantina in
Okay.
They're
in Avatar, is that the one in Avatar?
The Avatar one, yeah. They have their bowls.
Yeah, those are pretty good. There's limited inside seating. Very limited.
I would disagree with that. I've never had to sit outside there. So.
Oh, okay. Spring break, you will not be able to get a seat inside there.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
I know Gina says Coral Reef Cascade Bay was a disappointment for us. I've never heard good things about Coral Reef.
Again, if you're gonna get seafood, just go to Cape May Cafe. I've heard really good things about the buffet there, but
I would also say I have never heard anything good about Tony's Town Square except for the cheesy bread.
We ate there and it was fine.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine.
I like Skipper's Canteen.
Yes.
At Magic Kingdom, as far as
we
sit down.
I've been there a couple times. So
Liberty Tree Tavern's pretty good if you want just like a Thanksgiving type dinner.
Yeah, I mean you got to like that,
yeah.
but they do a fine job with that. I don't think we actually used to always eat at the Plaza. The Plaza is very simple, like sandwiches and stuff. But you got a
Plaza where there's like fried chicken and such.
Yeah. In Magic Kingdom, but I think there's not. I mean,
Don't
think
be our guest. When it was quick service for lunch, used to be pretty good. Now they've gone completely fixed price, and it's way expensive for what you get. And the food, from what I hear, is not that great.
Yeah, I've heard of late. I've heard nothing but bad things about there, which is really a disappointment.
Now, the quick service I will avoid is Cosmic Rays at Tomorrowland.
Yeah, not great. I also think Pecos Bill isn't really great.
Have you done Pecos Bills lately? Like since it's been Mexican food?
Oh, actually, I guess now that I think about it, we did go there one time and it was pretty good.
Okay, I haven't been there.
We tend to go to Columbia Harbor House, which
yes.
I think has really good.
Is possibly the best quick service on property in my mind.
Certainly the best in Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Or the other place we'll go is Pinocchio Village House for their flatbread pizzas.
Okay.
Like, to me, Disney's pizza is terrible, but the flatbreads are good.
Okay, how's Via Napoli?
Okay, Via Napoli. I really like Via Napoli.
Okay. Because we've got reservations there for this coming trip. So
what I've always liked about that, and more so when we've had a bigger party, is you can get like their large pizza is like, I don't know, $50 or whatever,
right.
but it's like 3 feet long. It's just huge.
Okay.
And you can feed a large group with, one $50 pizza. And I think they're if you like the brick oven style
yes
pizza, it's very good.
Okay. How about the Italian place at the boardwalk?
It's pretty good. I've been there once or twice. It was good. I mean, it wasn't outstanding or anything, but
with my mother having limited mobility, that's the one night she will not have a scooter at Epcot.
Yeah. Will
it be fine? Because there used to be like a brew pub there or something like that.
Yeah, they closed. The rumors are they've put what do you call permits for doing something there, so it might reopen as something. But no, if you're there, Trattoria Al Forno is fine. It's not it's not the best Italian I've ever had, and it's not.
You can't get over to anywhere else. So
yeah, no, you won't be upset. I mean, it's like
it's an Olive Garden.
Yeah, I was gonna say slightly better Olive Garden. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say those are probably some of the highlights. We honestly love Steakhouse 71 at Contemporary.
I've heard good things. We've had breakfast there. It was very good. Yeah.
Their pork chop there is like 3 inches thick and is amazing.
Yeah.
But there are very few places that you will go and say that was a bad meal.
Yeah.
We used to love Restaurant Marrakesh when it was open.
Yes.
So, which is
honestly the Regal Smokehouse.
I'm very much a barbecue snob.
Oh, you're from
yeah. I'm one of those. I've heard that is much better than Woody's, than the Woody's barbecue.
Yes, it is. I've eaten them both, and the Eagle, it has the better barbecue.
And
it's okay barbecue. It's theme park barbecue.
Yes.
So
now, when you go in August, will Food and Wine have started yet?
It's not starting till Labor Day this year.
Okay,
so no. So the answer will be no.
That is one thing to consider: is if you are going during one of the festivals, the festival booths make Epcot a great grazing park.
Yeah, we live in there in October.
Yeah, we loved. Best thing I've ever had at one of the booths was the Flower and Garden last spring had conch fritters.
Oh, that sounds really good.
That were amazing and made fresh. Like you could watch them drop them in the fryer from the batter and the meat. So, and honestly, most of the grills they use have like the raisin lower stuff are made like 20 miles from my house. So made in the middle of Kansas. So anyway, the one thing I want to hit yet is some of the accessibility. Not talking about the DAS pass, not talking about any kind of emotional or mental disabilities or things that might affect people. I'm going to focus on the physical getting around at Disney World. My party, with my mom, my son, my wife, and I, we have gone anywhere from all four of us being able to walk to us needing 3 scooters to be able to get around at Disney. Because as I said, you walk a ton. My mom has had the same hip replaced 3 times. Long story, she is in her 70s, cannot get around without a walker or a cane or the scooter. My wife honestly uses the scooter mainly because if we're going for more than one day, walking 10 miles a day, she hurts the rest of the trip. And I will sometimes use it because, again, I had a hip replacement about 1.5 years ago and I still struggle. But I will say Disney is one of the places where that is there are very, very few things you cannot do if you're in a wheelchair or a scooter or have limited mobility. The buses can all take, most of them can take 2 scooters or wheelchairs. Some of the new ones can take 3. There are very few lines that you cannot wait in. Magic Kingdom has the most because it has the oldest queues.
Yep.
A lot of the Magic Kingdom stuff was done before ADA. Magic Kingdom, and what happens then is if they can't accommodate wheelchairs in the full line, you go up to them and basically you get a return time. So if the wait is 60 minutes, you essentially get a fast pass to be able to come back in 60 minutes. So it's not, you don't get automatically to the front of the line, but it's then you either go through the fast pass line or sometimes you'll go in the back. But it's still, you're still waiting the time, but it's not like, for example, Big Thunder has that big ramp both up and down that you can't really do a wheeled vehicle in. So you go to the back there. Jungle Cruise, the Weavy line is not big enough for a scooter. You can get a return time there. You can get a return time at It's a Small World, and you end up going in the back ramp. Or, you end up going in the right-hand entrance, which at the moment is the exit. Right. That has been both the entrance and the exit switched multiple times in the last 40 years.
Yeah. The last couple of trips, my wife's been having problems with one of her ankles. So we have gotten a scooter for her. And then one trip before that, we went with my mom. We got a scooter for her. We use the same service that you use, Gold Mobility.
Yes.
Right. They were very good. I will say Disney is very accommodating, but I would also say someone that is using a scooter to take advantage, anyone that says that is nuts, because it's still not convenient to have a scooter.
It is not.
You're trying to steer around in crowds and, get through those lines and everything like that. It's not fun for the person operating the scooter all of the time to have to do with it. Again, my wife took it. There was one day she was sick and she stayed home. She's like, and I have problems with my feet. And so I will, at the end of the day, usually often be in pain. And there was one day where she was like, well, I'm not going. You want to take the scooter? And I was like, I really don't. I can, again, there's nothing wrong with using it, and I can see why people would use it, and we've used it. But don't think of people, when you see someone in a scooter. I would get really annoyed when you hear people like, that person shouldn't be in a scooter. Look at, she's like 30 years old. And you don't know why that person's in a scooter. No. And it's none of your business. And
you don't,
it's not making your trip easier. You're the last one getting off buses. You got to wait for the elevators. You got to, you're constantly having to stop and go in crowds. It's not easy to handle those things in big groups of people. So, but I do, that said, I do think Disney does a really good job of accommodating people, getting people, it's easy for getting on the monorail. It's easy for getting on the boats for the most part.
The smaller boats, only half of them can take scooters.
Right. So like if you're going to take the boat from Magic Kingdom to Wilderness Lodge or Grand Floridian, there's 2 boats. Only one of them can take a scooter.
So instead of waiting 15 minutes, you're waiting half an hour if you just miss the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so it's not, as I said, it's not like, it's convenient for the person that needs it. And I think Disney does a lot to accommodate it, but I don't think anyone should ever think, oh, I'm just going to get a scooter so I can go to, do whatever I want.
Front of line pass.
No.
So I will say Epcot, about the only one you do anything at Epcot is Spaceship Earth. You actually board from the exit, just because of the windiness. Peter Pan you used to, but Peter Pan with the new queue is wide enough. Some of the narrower queues, like I know Pirates and Space you have to do the fast pass or the return time, mainly because the standby line has those stairs right at the beginning.
Right.
But most of them also, if you need to take your scooter, if you need to sit somehow, you need to use one of Disney's push wheelchairs and get someone to push you. And that is not always fun. Like, think about Space Mountain. Yes, the first 50 yards is great. The next 50 yards is uphill. And that exit ramp.
Right.
So, but talk to the cast members. They will let you know what they can do for you and how to make it the most convenient for you. But don't be afraid of, I don't think I can get around physically, so therefore I'm not going to go to Disney World. And I will also say some scooter companies are better than others. I have used Gold Mobility now for 8-9 years in a row. Last year we were only there for, the only issue on Gold Mobility is they charge, it's either a 1 to 3 day flat rate or a 4 to 7 day flat rate. So they don't do daily. We were only going to be there for 1 day last year. I did a scooter from Scooterbug, which is the Disney authorized company. It broke down like twice. They had to come replace it. And so, and they think the similar scooters to that Disney actually uses in their parks. Disneyland scooters are in much better shape than Disney World's.
Oh, the scooters in Disney World look like they're from the 60s. I don't know if they are.
Drive like they're from the 60s, and they have batteries like they're from the 60s, and they fit like they're from the 60s. So, yeah,
the Gold Mobility, I mean, I'm not going to, they don't sponsor us or anything.
Right.
But, we've rented several times from them and have not had a problem. And the battery life on those, like, we've never even come close to running out of battery for the day. And, scooters were in good shape. I've heard one situation with them that did not go well for somebody, but it happens with all of them, I suppose. But
yeah. But I would also guess if they called Gold Mobility, probably got them a replacement as soon as they could. So
we would hope.
Yeah, you would hope. So, but yeah, don't let physical accessibility, change any reasons why not to go. Guys, that's about all I got. Hopefully answered. Steve, did we get most of your questions answered?
I think so. I learned some new things about the lightning lanes I did not know. So
yeah. Big thing I would say about the lightning lanes is don't be scared of, oh my gosh, I'm going to screw up, because no matter what you pick, unless, as Pete says, unless it's a day where it's been pouring rain and nobody is there, you will save time.
Our attitude about when that happens is I'll go through the standby line and then I'll go back and use my lightning lane. So I'm riding it twice. So
yeah, I mean, and that's the way to do it. Yeah. So, guys, if you have any Disney park shows that you want us to do, shoot us an email at plusplatoon@gmail.com. That's our usual email, but we will definitely be able to flag them down. But we like doing these live question answers, and we like talking about the parks, because let's face it, we all love going to the parks enough that we bought timeshares through Disney.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe next time we should bring Gina on and have Steve and Gina give us a Disneyland show.
Disneyland Q&A? Yes. And well, along those lines, if you look back in our archives in, I believe it was 2022, we actually did a couple Disneyland planning shows. So, but I'll pull those up and I'll get those put out again, just so people remember that they're there. But yeah, so shoot us an email on what you want us to talk about. If we didn't answer your questions, please let us know. Send us a message on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere you want to get a hold of us. We will respond and we will answer your question to the best of our ability. Plus Platoon has new episodes coming out every Thursday, and we will do these as often as you want us to. But for Pete and Steve, Gina, our lovely producer in the background, we will see everyone the next time we are patrolling the parks. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of the Plus Platoon. Be sure to subscribe to the Plus Platoon podcast to keep getting great content each week. Then head over to Apple Podcasts and leave those 5-star reviews, as they help make the Plus Platoon visible to even more Disney Plus fans. Also, go to YouTube and like and subscribe to the Plus Platoon channel, where you can watch all future episodes live. If you have a question for the Plus Platoon, please send us an email to plusplatoon@gmail.com or connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram @plusplatoon.
The Plus Platoon is a Disney Plus fan podcast and is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company or the Disney Plus streaming service. All opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the individual hosts and in no way reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company.
Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for next week's episode, because the Plus Platoon is to be continued.